They once built mansions to touch the clouds, then bunkers to hide beneath the earth. Now they are aiming for the stars. In the shadows of climate collapse, geopolitical tension, and digital unrest, the world's wealthiest have found a new form of refuge, not under our feet, but above our heads. Abroad rockets, on private stations, and someday soon entire colonies beyond Earth itself. They call it exploration, but in truth it is escape. Welcome to Decode the Elite. This is the space lifeboat. Why billionaires are racing to leave Earth. Let's start with the most unsettling idea of all. The billionaires who once promised to save the Earth are quietly preparing to leave it. Elon Musk says humanity must become a multiplanetary species. Jeff Bezos claims space is the only way to preserve Earth's environment. Richard Branson speaks of a new frontier for peace. But beneath the lofty rhetoric lies something more primal, a survival instinct. Because behind every visionary speech, there is a silent admission. They no longer believe Earth can be fixed. Think about it. When Musk warns of societal collapse, when Bezos invests billions in orbital habitats, when world leaders retreat into fortified compounds, it paints a picture of two futures, one for those with escape plans, and one for those left behind. For decades, we believed technology would save us all. Now it is being used to divide who gets saved. Let's decode the new hierarchy of survival. At the top are the exit architects, billionaires funding interplanetary lifeboats. They aren't just building rockets, they are building continuity plans for civilization itself, with themselves at the center. Take Elon Musk's SpaceX. Its Starship isn't just a rocket, it is a migration vessel designed to carry 100 passengers and the supplies to rebuild a society. But what society? Who decides who boards first? The dream of Mars sounds noble until you realize how small the list of ticket holders really is. Then there is Jeff Bezos and his company Blue Origin. While Musk dreams of Mars, Bezos envisions O'Neill cylinders, vast rotating colonies orbiting Earth, complete with rivers, forests, and entire artificial ecosystems. In his visions, billions could live off-world while Earth itself becomes a nature reserve, a protected planet. It sounds utopian until you remember who controls the launch pads, who owns the airlocks, who sets the rent in orbit. Because in space, there are no governments, only corporations. And for the first time in history, those corporations are becoming civilizations. We used to look up at the night sky and see hope. Now it is becoming a real estate. Starlink satellites shimmer above, each one owned, operated, and monetized by private hands. Amazon's Kuiper project will soon join them, creating an invisible empire of data flowing across every continent. But behind those signals lies a truth they literally mention. They are not just connecting the world, they are building the infrastructure to live it. It is a strange form of prophecy. The same people who profited from the system destabilizing our planet are now building lifeboats for when those systems fail. They say space will save us, but maybe space will only save them. Let's follow the money. Because in the 21st century, the race to space is no longer a government project, it is a billionaires' competition. In 1969, NASA planted a flag on the moon. In 2025, it might be a logo. From private spaceports in Texas and Florida to AI-managed orbital labs to luxury space tourism modules, everything is being privatized, even the very concept of survival. The old Cold War space race was about national pride. This one is about personal insurance. Insurance against collapse, insurance against extinction, insurance against accountability. Because when the sea rises and the power grids fail, a handful of people will have the ultimate escape clause, a one-way ticket beyond the consequences of their own world. But here is the deeper question no one wants to ask. If the elite can leave Earth, What happens to those who remain? When the wealthy retreated into bunkers, the poor were left to rebuild the ruins. When they retreat into orbit, will we even have a planet left to rebuild? This isn't science fiction anymore. SpaceX is already planning private refueling depots on Mars. A company called Axiom Space is designing a commercial space station to replace the International Space Station, complete with rentable suites and VIP research ports. And NASA, facing funding cuts, has agreed to collaborate. In short, the future of space belongs to whoever can afford the launch fee. To most of us, the sky is infinite. To them, it is zoning property. But even if they do escape to Mars, to orbit, to floating cities beyond the stratosphere, one truth will follow them. The same human flaws that broke Earth will travel with them. Because if greed, power, and inequality built our crisis here, they will replicate them there. Only this time, with no one left to challenge them. Imagine a colony on Mars. Hundreds of people living under domes, air recycled by corporate systems, food rationed through algorithmic quotas. Everything from your oxygen to your water, owned, metered, and monitored. Freedom in theory, dependency in reality. The first space colony won't be humanity's liberation. It will be its most exclusive gated community. Meanwhile, on Earth, as the elite build escape routes, ordinary scientists and engineers are still fighting to repair the damage here, creating renewable systems, geoengineering solutions, sustainable AI infrastructures. They are trying to fix the world while others preparing to flee it. That is the moral fault line of our age. Maybe this is how every civilization ends, not with destruction, but with desertion. When the powerful decide the system isn't worth saving, when the dreamers become the escapers, when survival becomes a subscription, that is when a species begins to fade, not because it couldn't go on, but because those who could simply left. The billionaires say they are saving humanity, but what they are really saving is their version of it, a version with shareholder meetings in orbit and luxury suites on Mars. And yet, what use is a new world if it carries the same sickness of the old one? We were meant to go to space together, not as a brand, but as a species, not to escape responsibility, but to expand understanding. But maybe, just maybe, this moment, this billionaire space rush is our warning, a mirror held up to show us what happens when progress serves privilege. Because if space is the next chapter of humanity, then who gets to write it? The answer will decide whether we become explorer or exiles. And so, as rockets roar into the sky and fortunes flow into orbit, one question remains. When the lifeboat launches, will there be a room for anyone else? This was Decode the Elite. Stay curious, stay grounded, because the future is already boarding.